Hey familia, Miranda here, and today I'm bringing to you another episode of First Viewing where I share my thoughts and recommendations on films that I watched for the very first time. So I have a stack here, about half of it's Christmas, half of it not. So let's go on ahead and get right into it, kicking things off with The Man Who Invented Christmas. So I enjoyed this for what it is, you guys. Not necessarily going to be a staple of mine to watch every Christmas season, but I thought it was decent. So basically it is about Charles Dickens and the whole process of coming up with the story A Christmas Carol. Now, so this isn't like a true story though, which kind of sucks because I kind of wish it was. Would have been cool for it to be like, full blown, like, based on true events kind of thing. But after I watched this, I did have to kind of, look around and just kind of separate fact from fiction and stuff. But there is some truth behind this film, definitely. Obviously about Charles Dickens, his family, like his wife, his kids. He hadn't had a hit since Oliver Twist, and so he was kind of like in a financial mishap and whatnot. And so he actually wrote A Christmas Carol in 6 weeks, you guys. So there's some truth behind it, but it's not necessarily, all that. If anything, it does kind of try to lean towards like the fantasy side of things, mostly dealing with like the ghosts and like Scrooge and him kind of like Charles Dickens kind of getting lost in his own mind, and these like the ghosts and Scrooge just kind of like appearing to him and kind of telling him what to write in a way, sort of thing. But like I said, it was decent. I enjoyed it for what it is, but not going to be a staple of mine. But I'd say definitely, check it out. You guys might, take a better liking to it than I did. But yeah, it wasn't bad at all, you guys. So The Man Who Invented Christmas. Next up is A Christmas Horror Story. This one, you guys, I enjoyed so much. I did not expect to like it as much as I did. And the weird thing is that supposedly this is supposed to be an anthology, and I really didn't see it that way. But, kind of looking back some, I kind of get where it's supposed to be like an anthology. But for me, all of like the anthologies that I've seen previously, they're usually like, they do one story, it finishes, then they move on to another story. This one, it has sort of a bunch of different stories going on, but they did such a really good job at like blending them all together, that it just doesn't feel like an anthology, because they kind of go like back and forth between the stories and they're not necessarily like separated. If that makes any sense. But I did enjoy this. I like this so much better than Krampus, you guys. Krampus, for me, honestly, was kind of boring. It wasn't scary. There wasn't any jump scares or anything, and you really didn't see Krampus in it. This though, the Krampus in this one is so gorgeous, you guys. I don't know. I love seeing this Krampus in here, because you actually do get to see Krampus for real. It's not just, like sound or shadows like in the actual Krampus movie, but you do get to like physically see him. And I thought, that all of the little stories, I guess, that were going on, were all pretty good. And like I said, they just kind of really did a really good job at blending everything together. So it didn't really feel like an anthology to me, but I highly recommend this one. If you have not seen it, definitely check it out. All right, next up we have Pearl. So, X, I liked it. It was definitely something very different, but I will say that I did like Pearl just a bit more. This one, so Pearl definitely answers like all the questions you may have had after watching X. So that definitely helped clear things up and whatnot. But Mia Goth, I felt like she didn't really shine in X, but in Pearl, oh my goodness, she was flippin' amazing. I freaking loved her performance in this. She was just so creepy and insane, and I freaking loved everything about her performance in this film. Pearl was just, it's also different like X, in its own ways, and I really enjoyed this. I mean, there's not necessarily like a whole lot of kills in this, but the ones that did actually happen were pretty dang brutal, if I do say so. And I just thought that they were fun kills, even though they weren't many. The whole scarecrow scene thingy was hella freaking weird. Like, what the hell? But yeah, Mia Goth was just stunning, and just, oh my goodness, just her performance so unsettling in this. And I was a fan of the monologue towards the end. I know some people didn't like it, but her speech was just so full of realness and vulnerability and just so much emotion, you guys. It was freaking awesome. Those end credits are by far the creepiest end credits I have ever seen in my life. Oh my goodness. And I don't know though, it does leave you kind of hanging. So I definitely wanted to know more there at the end. I don't know if we will ever learn more about what actually happened afterwards, but yeah, you guys, I highly recommend this one. I know a lot of people are saying to just watch them in order, but I definitely say that if you haven't seen X, in my opinion, watch Pearl, because it will just answer like everything else that's kind of happening in X and be like, oh, okay, so that makes sense kind of thing. But Pearl, you guys, Pearl is freaking awesome. I loved every minute of this, and Mia Goth was just outstanding. All right, next up we have White Christmas. I definitely enjoyed this. I thought it was a fun little musical. I mean, the time setting is great. It is from 1954, so, you know, obviously, you know, it's that kind of a vibes from back then and whatnot. But yeah, I thought that this was fun. All the musical numbers were great. The whole like atmosphere around Christmas time and everything was great. And all the performances in here throughout were just amazing, you guys. And I enjoyed definitely all the musical numbers, especially that one towards the end that was like For the General. That one, I don't know why it really got to me. And so I got like a bit teary-eyed there. But definitely, you know, worth the watch. It is a bit of a long one. It's 2 hours long, but it's very well worth it. If you're into musicals, and especially like, you know, Christmas time and stuff, there's some fun songs in here, so do recommend that one. So the next film I have here is Point Break. I know, super late to the game, but finally glad that I watched this one because I enjoyed the heck out of it, and I totally see why this one is a classic. Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze just deliver some amazing performances in this. And aside from like the adrenaline from like, you know, the heist aspect of this film, it's also just kind of a really laid back film and really cool little like surfer flick, if you will. And I just like how it kind of, you know, tied the whole surfing aspect to the whole like, you know, heist action kind of thing, and it blended well together. About, you know, Keanu Reeves' character infiltrating into these surfer gangs to figure out who these, you know, president masked, you know, bank robbers are and stuff. But yeah, this was so good, you guys. I really enjoyed this one, and honestly, I'm looking forward to watching this one again. All right, next up is Woodlawn. So it is based on a true story, and it does take place in Birmingham, Alabama. And it's still during the time where, you know, blacks and whites were separated. But this one school in particular, they, you know, integrated. And so it's about basically God and prayer and everything, kind of bringing the team and bringing the whole community together. So you do get a lot of talk about God. There is a lot of prayer in this, and obviously the whole like spirituality aspect. So there's a lot of that, but at the same time, there's still a lot of like the football aspect to this. So you definitely get to see a lot of like the plays and whatnot. And so I definitely thought they did a very good job at just, you know, mixing everything together. So yeah, it's definitely gets a little sentimental at times. I know, got a little teary-eyed here and there, ain't gonna lie, but yeah, I thought that this was a really good one. And it does kind of focus on Tony and Nathan. He, I think he went on to play for like the Dolphins or something like that. But yeah, I highly recommend this one. It is very good, you guys. Very powerful, very uplifting, very motivational. Next up is Top Gun Maverick. So I actually did rewatch Top Gun before I watched Top Gun Maverick, and still a classic. I get why, you know, it's well loved. But let's talk about Top Gun Maverick, you guys. Oh my goodness. I have to say that Top Gun Maverick definitely surpasses the first film for sure. I loved everything about Top Gun Maverick. The performances throughout were just amazing, and overall, even the storyline is so much better. There's definitely like more action, more adrenaline happen in Top Gun Maverick. That is the way to make a sequel, you guys. This is by far one of the best sequels that I have seen in a very long time, and it was definitely one that was way long overdue. But yes, you guys, and Miles Teller, you guys. You know that I'm not exactly the hugest fan of him, but boy, Top Gun Maverick and Whiplash are definitely like my two top roles of his that I have enjoyed the most. But yeah, Tom Cruise, you know, back at it in Top Gun Maverick, just amazing. Like I said, all the characters are just actually quite likable. And like I said, I just overall enjoyed the storyline a whole lot better than the first Top Gun. And yeah, everything about Top Gun Maverick just is just so like over the top, amazing. It's my goodness, you guys, I can't rave enough on like how much of a awesome sequel this was. So if you have not seen Top Gun Maverick, you definitely need to. You will not be sorry. I'm telling you, it is so much better than the first film. It just has so much heart, and it even does get actually pretty sentimental at times, and I just loved it, you guys. I love Top Gun Maverick so much. So next we have Warrior. This one too, I'd always heard people rave about this one, and so I finally got around to watching it, and this is another one too that, oh my goodness, I enjoyed it so much. This one, it's just, you are really like connected to the characters in this film, like the two brothers, really. You feel so connected to them, and you're like seriously like rooting for each of them to win like every single time. And it is just, it's epic, man. There's just some awesome MMA fighting and whatnot, and it is just like, even the story itself is just really awesome, you guys. I loved everything about this film so much. Excellent performances throughout. The MMA fighting was excellent, and just, yeah, how the brothers end up having to fight each other. It's just crazy, you guys. Kind of sad in a way that they had to go up between each other, but again, though, this movie's just freaking awesome, you guys. I can't stress that enough. If you haven't seen it, definitely you need to check it out. If you're into the whole MMA stuff, this will definitely be right up your alley, which I'm sure most of you have already seen this. I'm kind of the one who took forever to watch it, but yeah, you guys, I absolutely loved Warrior. Next is this film called Call Me Claus. I'd never heard of this one, but I scooped this one at Dollar Tree a while back, and just for Whoopi Goldberg, I really wanted to see this. It was all right. Again, this is not going to be another one that's going to be like a staple watch like every Christmas season for me or anything like that. It was okay for what it is, but it really wasn't anything special or over the top. It wasn't like super funny or whatever, which is kind of like your basic sort of like, you know, comedy tied into, you know, the whole Christmas aspect and whatnot. But basically she's kind of this like grumpy, she like takes care of she's a producer for a shopping network. There we go. And so, yeah, she just kind of like lost her Christmas spirit after something happened when she was a kid and whatnot. And basically this Santa Claus, he's trying to get her to be the new Santa Claus because he's retiring or whatever. And so, yeah, it was all right for what it is. Again, it's not anything, you know, like super over the top Christmas fancy, gotta watch every Christmas year kind of thing. But it was decent. Next up is Mixed Nuts. This movie was one hot mess, but it was so funny, you guys. I really enjoyed this one. The comedy was a little bit dry at times, I will say, but for the most part, I enjoyed this. You know, Steve Martin, all the characters in here were just so different. You have a super young Adam Sandler in here. You also have, oh my goodness, Rita Wilson's in here, Juliette Lewis, Anthony LaPaglia, Robert Klein, Madeline Kahn, and then also Liev Schreiber's also in here. And so it's just kind of an interesting cast, and like I said, each of the characters are so unique, and it was just kind of like all over the place, hot mess kind of thing. Takes place, I think it was like Christmas Eve or something. Yeah, Christmas Eve night, and there's just a lot going on. Everything from like love to murder, and it's kind of a wild one, you guys. Like I said, a bit all over the place, but it was definitely fun, and I thought it was pretty dang funny, so definitely check out Mixed Nuts if you have not. And last but not least is this film here called Coming Home for Christmas. This one, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. It definitely like has its moments and stuff. Basically, there's these two sisters. They kind of had a falling out like 5 years prior, and so their parents are kind of in the process of splitting up because of this whole situation between the sisters and whatnot. And so they sold their house that they lived in when they were like kids and whatnot, and so they kind of like come together, like the girls get their parents together for Christmas at this house that's already owned by like somebody else, but the owner's like down with it and whatnot, and kind of ends up falling for one of the sisters and stuff. But yeah, like I said, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. Not another one that I'll be watching like every Christmas, but I mean, it was cool to at least get it done and over with. And I will eventually watch it at some point again because I thought it was pretty decent. Because it wasn't bad, but it's not a great Christmas film either. But I enjoyed it for what it is. Definitely got a little, you know, heartfelt, a little sentimental here at times, especially when one of the sisters found these photos of the new owner of the house. That part just kind of really got to me, and yeah, I was like crying. So but we got Coming Home for Christmas. So that is it, you guys. Let me know if you guys have seen any of these films, your thoughts on them. And yeah, that's it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Join the family if you have not, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.